Okay, good afternoon, everyone. First off, we appreciate you taking the time, especially on a busy Tuesday afternoon. It's also a Positive Tuesday, my favorite day of the week, as you know. We're going to dive into today kind of a unique platform and strategy in the insurance space. And, you know, there's a lot of gray area here. People think that, selling your policy is a thing of the past, and it's kind of not very ethical, or there was a bad rap many years ago. And, you know, we're here today to talk about the facts, to talk about some new opportunities for you, especially during this time, right? Going through COVID-19 pandemic. How can you generate new production, leads, phone calls, activity is the bottom line, as we all know. And this is another way to go back through your book, or if you are partnering with maybe another agent or agency and you have an opportunity to work on their book of business. Today, after we are done, you will have all of the marketing material. You'll know enough to be dangerous and know exactly what to look for when presenting the opportunity to an existing client of possibly maybe selling their policy. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. We actually broke down some true case examples. We call them case studies that we had the opportunity of helping these agents and clients through the entire transaction. And what's unbelievable is we hear and see this all the time. We have cases that, let's say, either lapsed or they're about to lapse, or the client, you know, calls the agent calls us, and they say, you know, I never even knew that we could have sold the policy, and the client could have received a check for 62 grand, and now they have nothing, and it's too late because we're 30 days after the grace period. So this stuff happens all the time. I have a personal friend. His name is Bob, lives in my same city, and Bob's in his early 70s, and he had a Banner Life term policy that was like $2 million of death benefit. And I swear to everyone on this call, if every time I see Bob, okay, because I see him out at the grocery store, I see him out, we have mutual friends, and he says to me every single time, Bill, I wish I knew about this life settlement option, because he let his policy lapse and expire, and he's been paying in these high premiums every month for 20 years, and now he has nothing. It's like renting a house, and now your 10-year lease is up and you have zero. So anyway, we're going to shed some light on this opportunity. There's a lot of changes in the space. We're going to talk about some facts and statistics that I think everybody needs to know about. And again, I mean, think about, oh, you know what? I'm going to bring up one more example. And this was a real life story of one of our agents. Okay, I totally forgot about this until just now. One of our agents called us, and he's been with us for many, many years, and he bought a universal life policy. And he got, I'm not going to mention any names, obviously, but he got diagnosed with cancer. And I get, Joe, was he in his first grace period and he was going to let the policy lapse? Is that what happened? And then we got,
he was a couple days past, and we were able to get an exception to extend the grace period.
That's right. We extended he couldn't afford his premium. We extended the grace period. And then we worked with Stephen and Joe, who's on the call right now, and we were able to get him an offer. I think it was like $20,000 or $30,000, which we got him a check. It took about 45 to 60 days. And here he was going to let his policy lapse. He paid in all those premiums. So we got the carrier to extend the grace period, got him a check in his hands. I believe it was like $20,000 or $30,000 at a time when he needed it most. And it was literally like a week overdue. So that policy had zero value at that time. So we turned the whole thing around. He was extremely happy. Plus he got the agent commission, because there's a marketing fee or an allowance. So he got both sides of it. And thank God he's still here with us today. But anyway, it just turned out to be a saving grace for this particular client and agent. And we all need to be aware of these things, okay? Especially during a time like this, people need cash, right? Most people are struggling today. So anyway, great opportunity. We also put together some really cool technology with the help of Stephen and Joe, and we're going to show you how your client can literally go on your website or Insure Me Now Direct platform. They click Sell My Policy. The system will give them immediate offer, a ballpark offer in real-time fashion. And if they like the offer, they hit apply now, fill out some basic information, and boom, they are done from A to Z, direct to consumer. You, the agent, get notified instantly, okay? And then obviously you want to pick up the phone and call the client, but everything is done. You barely did anything except the final part, and you're going to get your full agent commission. The client's going to get a check for the policy, and you are done, and you didn't even sell a policy. Okay, think about this. So this is a whole new revenue stream. And even if, maybe you're involved with 1 or 2 a year, whatever it is, it could be an extra 70, 80, 90, even $100,000. And what's crazy is there's so many times when these clients are sitting in your portfolio or your book, right, as we like to call it, and another life settlement rep gets a hold of your client and they get the entire deal when it was your client and you missed out on the entire commission. So anyway, my goal is we just want to make sure that everyone knows enough to be dangerous so you can help your clients, which ultimately will help yourself. Okay, let's jump right in here. We're going to do our question of the day at the end of today's presentation, so make sure you're paying attention to our slides, okay? It's very important. Take notes. We want everyone to walk away with nuggets, and most important, I want you to remember this information so you could start going after your book or partnering with another agency and going after their book. We're going to show you what to look for, who's a great candidate, who's not. We're going to give you all the details. So pay attention for the next 30 to 40 minutes. And then at the end, I'll ask the question of the day. Whoever answers first and correctly wins. We have the new Kindle Fire tablet with built-in Alexa that has the new 8-inch screen. We'll mail that out this afternoon so you can get your Insure Me Now Direct platform set up right from your new tablet, okay? And start writing e-applications and drop tickets from your free tablet on Levinson, okay? All right, let's jump right in without further ado. My first statistic here, look at the left side. This is mind-boggling in my opinion. 88% of all universal life insurance never results in a claim, okay? These are perfect candidates for a life settlement, okay? And this particular study was done at Wharton. So this isn't like some guy put this together in his third bedroom in Idaho, okay? These are real statistics. You can go online and do a search. So what this tells me is there's a huge opportunity out there. Look at the right side. 76% of universal life insurance purchased by seniors 65 years or older are also never claimed. That's a huge number there. And again, a great opportunity. And what's also a great opportunity is we have free orphan leads that we give out to our agents. Okay, we're going to talk about this at the end. But if you write just $10,000 of premium, annualized premium during an entire year, which is not a big number, folks, you get free leads, free orphans. And most of these orphans are older clients. And let's face it, the end of a 20, 30-year term, the chances of them not being so healthy are probably pretty high. So this could also make for a perfect life settlement, okay? So anyway, keep these numbers in the back of your mind. Let's jump right in here. Without further ado, I want to introduce Stephen. He's a veteran in the space. He also helped us build out our latest technology, which we're going to show you how it works as soon as Stephen is done. But I asked him to jump on today's training to make sure everyone is comfortable with life settlements and you know exactly what to look for and when. Stephen, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Bill. Thanks a lot. And everybody, thanks for taking the time today. It's an exciting topic, how we can help our clients, change the perception of this opportunity, really, right? It has kind of had a bad, kind of a non-transparent type, what is this type of opportunity in the past, and just the developments we've made through Levinson, right? And having this technology that takes this opportunity and makes it fast, simple, and easy. And just to start off, I wanted to take a dive into the process. How does this work so you can have an idea of what your clients can expect, how you can explain it to them. And there's a lot of parallels to life insurance, right? It's a similar type product, and so is the process that we go through. And this first step is discovery. So that's how can you find a policy owner that could use a life settlement? Bill said, looking through your book of business, partnering with an agent. Beyond that, you could look at CPAs, trust attorneys. A lot of larger face policies are held in ILETs and trusts. So discussing this opportunity with maybe a trust attorney could be an opportunity. I'm dealing right now with an 83-year-old lady. She's in a nursing home in a wheelchair. The trust attorneys had a plan, right? They did a single premium. It was going to lapse this year, and they did not even know that selling the policy could be an option. So luckily we got in there. One of our agents talked to the trust attorney, and now we're in the process of underwriting that policy. There could be an offer of several $100,000. So being aware of your book of business and networking to discover these opportunities is extremely important. And we'll get into that with sales, eligibility, and also marketing. The second step is once you find the right client, how do you apply? Now, a lot of agents, we're using electronic applications to submit these, new business applications for life settlement, especially right now with COVID-19. You don't want to be going into seniors' homes, which is the primary market for these, right? So you'll see through the technology we have freed all Levinson agents where you can electronically sign life settlement applications, electronically track and manage as we go through the steps. But that's something extremely exciting and really changing this space. So once we get an application, the third step that we go into is getting the different documentation, right? There is illustrations we need. Medical records are ordered. There is a HIPAA that's included in that application. So we're going out to the doctors, getting all the underwriting materials and packaging all those up into a case file that's then shipped out to a global network of buyers. So it's extremely important that there are buyers that say, send us your cases direct, and their goal and their fiduciary duty is to the investors. So they're trying to get every case for as low as possible, whereas what we're doing is distributing the cases out to a competitive landscape, because at the end of the day, no matter, we could talk about awesome technology all day, but what does your client care about is how much money can they get? At the end of the day, that is the paramount question. What am I going to get, and how can we maximize that? And that's done by bringing a policy into a competitive landscape to maximize an offer. So we do that through this underwriting process. And the fifth step with analysis, that's done by the buyer. So the buyers are out there analyzing. They often run their own internal life expectancies. It can take several weeks sometimes for them to get those. So it's, again, to what Bill said, this process, it can take sometimes, often over a month. And I think that's important to realize that that's not a bad thing. There's some groups out there that will say, we'll get you an offer in 4 days. I like to relate that to a simplified issue policy. Do you want something that you can get a quick offer, but it doesn't represent the fair market value? Or do you want to take the time, get the documentation, send it out to the buyers, give them the opportunity to analyze, so that we can get the maximized offer? And that's not to say that a quick offer, and that if that is the case, you can talk to Joe, say, hey, this client needs an offer in the next week. We do have funds that can facilitate that type of offer, but it won't be, and typically is not as much of an offer, which is, of course, the sixth step here, as you would if you went through the full process. So it's not a bad thing that it takes time. And oftentimes we're waiting for, APSs, medical records, things like that, to get these offers. And once we get an offer, that's when we really start to engage with you, with the client, on to the next step, the 7th step, which is going through the purchase. So we're now looking at getting an approval, right? Because at the end of the day, there's 3 important things. This is no obligation. So your client's not obligated to sell at any point during this transaction. This is simply them figuring out how much can their policy be worth, which at the end of the day, if they're taking a non-performing asset or an asset that they're about to let go and turn it into oftentimes other products, I mean, you're really repositioning this asset into something different, but they have no obligation at any time. There's no cost to them. And along with the technology that we've implemented, there's no real hassle. So it's not a hassle. There's not faxing, emailing, mailing things back and forth. And if there is, it's very limited. So during this step, we're really discussing the offer, discussing, is this going to be enough to notify the broker? Well, at that point, so if it's accepted, then we go to contracts, which that can again take as much time as it takes for the seller to get the contracts and get things notarized, right? These are legal documents that transfer ownership of an asset, similar to a home, right? You wouldn't have a senior client with a home and have them walk away. We're going to sell that. We're going to get them some funds. So once they accept and we get everything contractually done, changes are sent to the carrier. So ownership, beneficiary changes. Once those are completed and we're notified, the provider's notified that the changes are complete, then funds are transferred, and that's essentially the process. That's, you know, A to Z real quick, how life settlement transaction works. Again, you don't need to fully understand every single step. That's what Joe's here for. That's what I'm here for. We're experts in this space. We've closed many of these, but to know that, you know, the process can take 5 to 10 weeks, that's important to know. It's similar to a life insurance application. It's just important to have that kind of overview. And I think next what we'll take a look at are some quick examples of, you know, here's John, and he's had a $2.5 million policy. Premium is $127,000, and he's 83 years old. He was able to sell his policy for $920,000. What we're doing now, right? So life settlement, I like to view it as kind of the beginning of repositioning an individual's plan. And this agent was able to take that $920,000. Get this. This is incredible. He took $200,000 and put it into a single premium immediate annuity for the client. So he was able to start earning money and interest that way. $14,000 went into a long-term care policy, and the rest he kept as cash. So it's not so much, again, it's repositioning this life insurance asset into something that serves the client more, provides agents, advisors opportunities, and can lead to additional sales. The next example is a $1 million, and this was a lady. She was 52 years old. She was very unhealthy, right? So to be under 65, which when we get into eligibility, that's typical eligibility is 65 and above, but there are outliers. So we don't want to say no just off the cuff. There's 2 things that can allow younger people to get a settlement. That's, you know, if they're very unhealthy or if the premiums are extremely low. In this case, she was very unhealthy, and she was able to get $240,000 for her $1 million policy. And I believe she took that money and put it into, she did, yeah, she bought the Lexus. She actually bought a food truck. It wasn't a brick and mortar restaurant. It was like 2 or 3 food trucks. And she had her family start this whole food truck business. It was pretty interesting. I actually grew quite a friendship with this lady through this process. And of course, she kept some as cash, which is always a good, you know, you always want to encourage them to treat these funds extremely wisely. Last example here is, here's Bill. He had a $250,000 policy, 71 years old, and premium was very, very reasonable, and he was able to get $31,000. In this example, he just kept the entire amount as cash. But it's important to note that it's not necessarily someone who's super sick. It can be people who are, you know, have a few different impairments. And I think one of the perceptions in this industry as far as eligibility has been, we're taking people that are very sick in their deathbed, we're holding their hands and signing pieces of paper and having them sell their policies. That's just not true, and that's not the case. We're a very client-first product, a very client-first solution that doesn't just deal with terminally ill people anymore. It's a very mature network of buyers that we have that we can look at all different ranges. They can be 71s and unhealthy, or 75 and slightly unhealthy, and the offers will vary, right? You can't be 75 healthy and expect the 80% offer, 80% of face offer, but there is an established enough market now where we can work with all different types of individuals that don't just meet this really strict 90 years old and plus age range. And I think that's important as you're prospecting and seeing these examples. You know, we had an 83-year-old, a 52-year-old, and here's a 71-year-old. It's beyond age and it's beyond health. But I think next is really just the standard eligibility to keep in mind is 65 and older who have a policy 100,000 or more, who have declined in health since the original issuance of the policy. So if you have a term policy, and this gets into a sales idea I really like, and I think is going to be of interest to everyone here on the call, is say you have a term policy that was issued at preferred best, and 20 years later, the insured now has developed several health impairments. Nothing terrible, nothing terminal, but he's not healthy, right? Maybe he could get a table 4 or a table 6 right now if he got new business. Well, he obviously wants to convert, let's say it's $1 million policy. He wants to convert 100,000 because, well, the conversion premium is so much more. That's all he can afford. That leaves 900,000 of non-converted term insurance that could be let go, which is the traditional way, is you convert what they can afford and you let the rest go. But you can actually take a partial term conversion and turn that 900,000 now into a life settlement. So as you're dealing with clients that may want to convert part of their term policy, just keep in mind that you can actually keep the remaining term and sell that through a partial term conversion strategy. And again, this is a person who may qualify for table B, but since he has that preferred best rating, that rating arbitrage allows eligibility and provides a good opportunity for the client and of course the financial, the agent, you representing them. So I think we've really talked about eligibility, sales ideas, and very exciting what we've put together with Levinson as far as next generation. Think next generation, think efficiency, speed. What do clients really want? Do they want to be taking a lot of time filling out paperwork, emailing and faxing, or do they want to sign on their phones real quick and be done, right? So I think it's really exciting, the marketing strategies that we've developed with Levinson and kind of the platform ease of application. And I think Joe's going to dive into that right now.
Yes, we are, Steve.
Yep.
Joe, can we mute those phones? I'm getting a little background. Yeah, so what we're going to do right now is Joe's going to take the wheel, and this is kind of his wheelhouse, if you will. If you have any cases that you're thinking of right now, okay, that let's say maybe a minimum age of 65, obviously the unhealthier the better. I hate to say that, but that's the facts here when it comes to a life settlement. Obviously, the unhealthier, the higher the offer is. But the point is, if you can think of anyone as we're going through this presentation, jot that down and make sure you reach out to Joe and we can see if they're a fit and then work on getting you an offer. I think it's also an important note, and Stephen brought this up, but during this whole COVID-19 issue, people need money, okay? And there are tons of policies out there. As you saw with the statistics on the second slide, there's a huge opportunity where you can make some calls and being that, let's say the client needs some cash, they're going through some issues, their retirement fund isn't what they thought because the market's not performing, whatever the case is, you can come in as a Superman or Superwoman and literally save the day, and the entire process can be paperless. You can do this completely over the phone or drive traffic through your Insure Me Now direct link. So Joe's going to dive into all of the latest and greatest technology. We're going to show you how to get started. And one more thing, again, make sure you're paying attention because the question of the day is coming up in about 15 to 17 minutes. Joe, you there?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So I'm going to show everybody real quick. What you're looking at is Levinsonandassociates.com. Underneath the product tab, you'll see it says Life Settlement. You can click on that tab. There's actually a really in-depth training video that kind of dives into the entire process. I know we covered it today, but a little more in-depth training on how that process actually works. There's some consumer brochures, some additional material you can actually download, and it will kind of walk you through how the life settlement works. You can even download an informal application. So a lot of times what we see is, hey, we might think a settlement might work. Maybe you got a notice from the insurance carrier that the client's lapsing the policy, and you reach out to them and they just say, I don't need the coverage anymore. I don't want to pay the premium. That's a perfect scenario to say, hold on, before you do anything, let's just take a look at this and kind of see if it's something that might work. And you'd be pretty surprised. Sometimes you can get some decent offers off of something the client thought was really just a burden, and an ongoing monthly fee or annual fee turns into some good cash that they can use by selling the policy. So there's some more information. You can even submit kind of an informal quote request, and we'll look at the policy. And typically within about 24 hours, we can get back to you and let you know if it's going to be something that's a good candidate or not. So the initial kind of underwriting test is very, very brief. We can get you an answer right away so you can know exactly what to expect. A lot of agents have kind of dived into the life settlement arena and have said, well, I love the concept, but I don't know what to say to my clients. I don't know how to position this. Like Steven said, there's a lot of bad press out there about viaticals and if they're the right thing to do. And so what we've done inside of our agency automator marketing system, we've actually uploaded multiple life settlement brochures and email templates that you can actually send out to your clients. So if you're using Agency Automator, which is our CRM platform, and you've got all your clients in there, you can simply go through and say, hey, show me all my clients that are age 65 plus. Let me send them this quick email or a multiple series of emails talking about the life settlement opportunity, and to make sure you plant the seed. Maybe they're considering canceling their policy or they know someone that's canceling their policy. You can really kind of plant that seed so they know that as their agent, you can help them with this process. So a lot of great material. Another great question I get from agents is, well, I'm just starting out. I don't have a book of business over 10 or 15 years. How do I find people that might fit that kind of settlement opportunity? And so inside of Agency Automator, there is a prospecting database with a little bit over 28.7 million records. So you can literally go into that system, plug in your zip code, pick a 25-mile radius, and say, show me everybody that is, 75 plus. And then you can start to market to those people and say, look, if you have a policy and you're considering letting it go or canceling it, there might be a great opportunity for you to cash in on that policy. So a couple of great tools to kind of uncover new sales opportunities. Like Steven said, definitely partner with some CPAs and some other groups that have access to those clients that have established policies that maybe run into a situation where they don't need as much death benefit. A lot of times we see clients convert $1 million policy and they maybe only need $250,000 or $500,000. Well, that's a great opportunity to say, well, you actually are insured for $1 million of coverage instead of just letting that other conversion opportunity for the extra $500,000 go. They can actually sell part of that policy and retain half of that policy for themselves. So there's a lot of great things you can do in those scenarios looking at conversion that really kind of help the client. And of course, as an agent, being able to do a guaranteed conversion with a settlement is a very, very lucrative opportunity. So a couple of sales ideas that agents have used in the past to really kind of uncover some great business. And then real quickly here, what we've done to kind of integrate this with all your marketing efforts is if you're using the InsureMeNowDirect.com platform, you'll actually notice a little button here. If you're not, we'll actually be sending a thank you email today with a link to get started. But this is a completely consumer-driven process, start to finish. We've got life insurance products, guaranteed issue, critical illness, accident, disability, even some senior products. We've got children's whole life, our scholarship platform. So pretty much everything that you can imagine as far as a client-driven experience is on InsureMeNowDirect.com. Your clients can go on there, run quotes, apply for coverage. We have the new $500,000 term policy with instant approval now on the platform. So if you're looking for a website, or maybe you have one but want something a little bit more consumer friendly, this is literally like the online shopping cart. We call it the Amazon of insurance for your insurance practice. So we added that little button that says sell your policy. What's so neat is this will actually generate some new leads for you. So if you have someone that you do some email marketing or maybe even some social media marketing around clients selling their existing policies, they can go here, click on the button, enter in a little bit of contact information about themselves. I just ran through a quick test this morning, and it will actually give them a suggested retail value for that policy. And at that point, you've gotten their contact information. You can reach out and kind of explore their individual situation. But the really neat part is they can actually continue to an e-application for the whole life settlement process right from this page. So they can click through, complete that e-application, and since this is through your Insure Me Now Direct platform, you as the agent have access to all the data, and it is hard-coded to you as their writing agent. So a lot of great features inside of Insure Me Now Direct, and I think adding in that little feature on selling your policy kind of make sure that you're not leaving any business on the table when it comes to marketing to different clients and prospects. Now you can not only sell the products, but you can help them sell their policies on the secondary market. So a lot of great resources that kind of went into that tool, and I think it's awesome for them to be able to see the value in real time.
Okay, good stuff, Joe. All right, Joe, I think this is important too for everyone, because now that everyone realizes, let's say some of the older clients, orphan leads, it's not always, let's say, a new term or maybe a policy conversion. It's not always the perfect solution for every client, and this leaves another feather in your cap, if you will, as another alternative. Orphan leads are awesome, and we have literally thousands that are sitting here, okay? Because these are people that already bought into the whole life insurance idea because they have policies. Their agents aren't active any longer, or maybe they passed on, depending on the situation. Anyway, long story short, you write at least $10,000 of annualized premium in a 12-month period, which is not a lot of premium, and you get a batch of orphans. And by the way, let us know, the more states you have a non-resident appointment in, the more leads you're going to get. Okay, so make sure we have an incentive form on our website, and make sure you fill it out, send it in. Even if you're close, by the way, we're going to work with you. Okay, so you don't have to be at 10 exactly, but if you're at 9,700, we're definitely going to make an exception for you. Okay, take advantage of that. Let's move on here. The Bill Levinson Experience, a great time. I know I say this on every single webinar, but every month we're adding new featured guest speakers. And as you know, we have, the ultimate Gary Vaynerchuk. He was my guest speaker about a year ago now. And check out his episode, because it's so neat, because it talks all about, selling in 2020 and using all of the online tools and resources. And that's kind of what we're talking about today with the new Sell Your Policy button on Insure Me Now Direct. Also, as you can see, Forbes 400, Jeff Levitet's, every Cleveland Clinic Orthopedic Center is named after Jeff, okay? He is the man, one of the wealthiest guys in Florida, self-made, originally from Chicago. He's also my mentor for 22 plus years. Great story of how I met Jeff, and we talk about all the ins and outs and how, he always pushed me to be disciplined and punctual and everything else. So check out that story. I'm going to point out just a few others. Jorge Solar is the home run record holder in the American League for last year, also World Series winner on the Chicago Cubs. So he's got a great, inspiring story. Paul Feldman, the owner of Insurance Newsnet magazine. Bill Atlee, speaking of technology, he is the founder and CFO of iPipeline, okay, created literally the drop ticket in the iGo e-app. along with the help of us and a company called Amplify that they bought out years ago. So another great story. Joe Ross, the top insurance coach in the world, bar none. Ian, Emmanuel, some great agents. And what's neat about Ian and Emmanuel's story is I spoke to them each for an hour. And what's so cool is this was pre-COVID, and they both said, Bill, 99% of my sales are made from me being in my home office, okay, without ever leaving my house or office, okay? So 99% of sales were done online or over the phone, and that was pre-COVID. So do you think that they were ready for all of this when push came to shove? And you know what's crazy? Their numbers are actually increasing over this whole, let's say, past 2 months, okay? So this is a lesson that all of us can learn from, that we have to think forward. We have to always utilize the latest technology to build our practice. I don't care what age you are. In fact, Wally Berman was another guest speaker that I had. And what's cool about Wally, he's in his 70s, and this guy is using his website and driving traffic through social media and generating leads online and using CRM tools. So, you know, you talk about, you know, hey, I'm in my 70s or 80s, and you know, this is I'm already over this, and I have a great book of business. I'm gonna sit back and work on my existing book. That's no excuse. Wally is having the time of his life and more successful than ever, okay, by utilizing all of our technology and tools. So the point is, I don't want to hear any excuses from everyone. If you're 17 or 77, okay, you can take the time to listen and learn on our webinars and utilize our technology. There's no excuse. Also, I'm going to point out one more. Bottom left corner is Mike Savage. He is Tony Robbins' right hand for the last 15 years. He travels everywhere with Tony, to Fiji and these diamond events. He's got some great stories, and he talks about selling and building your practice during COVID-19. That was done just a few weeks back. Check out that podcast episode. By the way, any of your favorite podcast channels, this is available for free. YouTube, Apple, iTunes, this is available for free. Go to our website. I want to know your thoughts, okay? Leave me a review. Give me a 5-star rating. I'll send you the IUL prospecting book, no charge on us, okay? Check it out when you can. Okay, moving forward here, these are our upcoming training events, which I just spoke about. This is very, very important for you, okay? Because, you know, the days of a rate book and a yellow legal pad are over, okay? And this COVID-19 issue is the reason why we have to think forward. We have to know how to sell over the phone and virtually, maybe use Zoom or GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, which is what we're on right now. You have to figure these things out, and we're here to help you with our daily training. So every day of the week, 2 p.m. Eastern, we also have our new online version of a safe deposit box called Legacy Armor. This is a great door opener. We added this training to our weekly events every Wednesday, 2 p.m. And then, by the way, if you're working in the senior market or final expense, you need to be on Thursday's call, folks, because we hand-picked the top final expense companies, all of the resources, lead programs, voice signature products, and we literally pick them apart on Thursday, 2 p.m. You will be happy you attended that training if you're in the final expense space or want to be in the senior market, okay? By the way, speaking of senior market, we are adding our health departments, okay? So that should be about 4 to 8 weeks away. We're going to have the Levinson health department, and we're going to focus on all Medicare, Medicaid, standalone health insurance. We brought in a guru that teamed up with us. It's going to be freaking awesome, in-house. So we have tons of agents that said, Bill, you know, I hate to join another IMO for health insurance. I wish you guys would offer this. Well, we have been putting the pieces together for about a year now, and finally, we are very, very close to a launch. So you'll hear more on that as well. Okay, moving forward here, I want to dive into our question of the day and our Positive Tuesday quote. Okay, today happens to be Tuesday, one of my favorite days of the week, as I said a couple times already. And by the way, you know, this whole Positive Tuesday thing, what does this mean? What is a Positive Tuesday, right? It means absolutely nothing. It is just a name and a day of the week that I came up with, and I said, you know what? I'm going to come up with a positive quote, and I'm going to put out this message every single week on all of our social media pages. And I really want to lead by example, and I want to show our agents that you should and could be doing the same exact thing. You have to think, drive traffic back to your home base, which is your website or your Facebook page. But you have to be thinking like this. And even if you say, well, Bill, I tried this and I got 3 people that liked my picture, okay? That's fine, because it's 3 more than you had last week. And that 3 is going to turn to 6, which is going to turn to 20, which is going to turn to 100, which is going to turn out to be 5 new leads or questions on, hey, you know, can I get a quote? Okay, and then the 100 turns out to be 400, okay? And then you build and grow from there. But now is the time to get creative, get resourceful, I like to call it, get scrappy, okay? Sit at the dinner table tonight with your spouse and say, honey, I want to put a 1-minute video together on how a client needs to know about if they have an existing policy and they're a senior, okay, or getting ready for retirement, that they can possibly sell their policy. I'm going to share what I learned on the Levinson webinar today. I'm going to talk about this option and show a case study. In less than a minute, I'm going to post this video on all of my social media pages and YouTube. That's how you need to think. And don't worry about, hey, I'm not great on camera and it might not look professional. It's okay. Start small, okay? Start with a minute or 2. And then if you want to change and make it a little more professional, add music, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But start somewhere, because the eyeballs right now are on social media. They're online. They're on YouTube. They're on your website. Your clients might be in their 70s or 80s, but their kids or grandchildren, okay, they're going to be referred to you. And if you don't have an online presence, they're going to look elsewhere. I promise you. So you need to be proactive, okay? And if you don't believe me, look at all the agents and agencies before COVID-19 that weren't proactive and didn't utilize e-applications and drop tickets and CRM tools. Most of them have closed their doors by now because they couldn't make it these last few months, okay? So the proof is in the pudding. Just remember 3 months ago, okay? And look at where we are today. So anyway, enough of my preaching here. I just think it's so important. I can't stress it enough. All right, question of the day, real quick, and I'm going to make this really, really simple. We talked about a statistic in the beginning of the presentation. And my question of the day, and whoever answers first wins the new Fire 8-inch tablet with built-in Alexa. Make sure your little fingers are on the keyboard and make sure you answer first and correctly. What is and was the percentage of universal life policies that go unclaimed? What is the percentage? What is the number? It was on my second slide. It was the first statistic that I shared. What is the percentage of universal life policies that go unclaimed? Whoever answers first and correctly wins the new Fire tablet. Joe, do we have a winner?
Yep, the winner is Timothy L. from Michigan.
Timothy L. from Michigan, congratulations. The number is 88% of universal life policies go unclaimed. That study was done by Wharton. It's online also if you want to check it out as a resource. With that said, I'm going to end on our Positive Tuesday quote. And note, your environment will always influence your experience. Make it a positive one on the Bill Levinson Experience podcast. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, a great week, great weekend, good selling, and most important, stay healthy and keep your eye on the ball. Take care and thanks again.